Greetings from Toronto, Canada, and I believe it's good afternoon in Istanbul, Turkey. COVID-19 has changed the world order. It deeply affects on sustainability of global society. The health and human toll now combined with economic damage is a double-edged sword, represents the largest economic shock the world has experienced in decades and has grown to 3 times of the last shock of the financial crisis. Tourism, like other sectors, is negatively affected by COVID-19 as well. The virus outbreak has devastated the travel and tourism sector, with global travel demand forecasted to drop by almost 60% in 2020. Travel and tourism accounts for some 10% of the global GDP, with 1 in 10 jobs. As many as a third of these jobs, or more than 100 million positions, and some 2.7 trillion in GDP could be at risk as a result of the current crisis. In order to continue to be at the forefront of this battle, World Tourism Forum Institute has partnered with an incredible economic development organization whose member countries not only need tourism economy, but for some it's vital for their very existence. It gives me immense pleasure and honor to invite to our recovery town hall the Secretary General Ambassador Dato Jaafar Shaari of D8. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam Sumaira. Thank you.
Thank you so much for making this time for us, and I'm very proud of our partnership. So let's get started. D8, also known as Developing Aid, is an organization for development cooperation among the following countries, I believe: Bangladesh, Egypt, Indonesia, Iran, Malaysia, Nigeria, Pakistan, and Turkey. The objectives of D8 for economic cooperation are to improve member states' position in global economy, diversify, create new opportunities in trade relations, enhance participation in decision-making at international level, and of course, by consequence, improve the standards of living. What are the current challenges the D8 are facing in COVID-19 era?
Well, thank you very much. I think I agree with you in your, the way that we look at COVID as a pandemic that has affected the whole world. And it become not only an issue that become concern to everyone. I look at it more as an issue of humanity, beside the economic issues as well. And these are two important issues that need to be addressed quickly. And in our context, of course, we take it very seriously for a fact that, we are 8 developing countries. And as a developing countries, we have a huge population, and our people are being infected in a big numbers as well. Our economic are being affected seriously. As you say, that we are suffering, and it looks quite gloom, to us. But in our case, as I said, we take it very seriously, and I'm happy to mention here that we established something at the time when the COVID now came to to infect us. So we have established our D8 health and social protection program, and we established our office in Abuja. We have our expert also now to help us out in this case. We are talking about both issues, about the problem of COVID-19 itself in our health, as well as on the economic impact. So we are trying to address this issue now by working closely with member states, as well as working with the important international bodies to find a way forward of how we can help member countries facing this real issue. So it's a real challenge to us, but we have few plans ahead. Our ministries of health of member states are communicating with one another, helping one another, sharing their experience, and so on. And I'm happy also to inform that we receive sometime good report from member state to say that we are trying to address it properly. We work also to provide a special kind of a map to indicate a problem in all our member states, including the figures and the numbers and then so on. So efforts are being undertaken seriously to address this issue.
Right. And I believe, I mean, when looking at the world scenario, the world COVID map, and I was just doing some of my research, but some of your member states, you know, although Iran had a flare up right in the beginning, they've managed to bring it somewhat under control. Pakistan has been recognized by WHO for its effort. Turkey has done all these different smart lockdowns, and you know, so they've been Malaysia, Indonesia have somehow been able to curb it, although some of these countries are now on the verge of second wave. But at the same time, if you look at holistically each one of the member states, there've been some good case studies in there. So I think there are regional stories to be told.
Yes, this is exactly the situation now. As you say, that some member countries are able to impose some rules and even lockdown. I am a Malaysian, so I've been following the issue in Malaysia because I'm worried also about the situation back home. And the government has imposed a serious kind of procedures, lockdown in particular, looking at the SOPs in particular, trying to identify clusters, identifying people who are being infected seriously, and they are able to come up with good figures that they can follow in detail the situation. And some other countries like Nigeria also, I think the number seems to be not as high. And I think the government is able to control the pandemic. And we have not a big, kind of a number. And this is what we are doing. We had a few virtual meetings among our health ministries expert for our experience sharing. So they have been sharing the experience of how we want to address this issue. And I can say this, in fact, we are now in the midst of preparing for our health ministerial meeting. Hopefully we can do it next month or in 1 or 2 months' time. Again, for us to see how best we can find a way, to solve this issue, both in particular about sharing the experience, sharing the expertise, looking at sharing whatever we have together to support one another, and also in looking at how we can address the economic impact on the economy.
So the DA's combined GDP amounts to about 4 trillion in intra-trade, is valued at 10 billion of intra-trade and has a 700 billion of export capacity. PricewaterhouseCoopers has projected that by 2050, DA member states will rank among the top 24 economies of the world. And with a combined GDP of US 38 trillion, the D8 could become the world's third biggest economy. Do you believe in that? And what's the vision and objectives in advancing these shared goals for the member states?
Well, I think this is important. I've been quoting this. In fact, I'm using these figures and numbers to convince member states that we cannot rest on our laurels. We have to work hard to achieve this dream. If one can say that this is just a dream, but to me, if we are able to come up with good, policy, we are able to work closely together, not only among the 8 member states, sharing best practices, experience learning, and come up with a very good implementation of the whole thing. In particular, in the 8, we are focusing on all economic issues that will benefit member countries. And if we are serious enough, like we dream that in next 10 years, which we are going to launch our decennial roadmap that will allow us to improve the way we do things by the year 2030, as in the analysis. So it says by the year 2030, our ranking will start changing, and a number of member countries will start making improvement. And I believe strongly that all member countries will not maintain the position as it is now, because every government would have this dream to improve, the growth, economic growth, the development project, and I think they are trying very much to catch up with many other countries. And with the advent of technologies, I'm sure many will adopt new technologies. But what we need to do now is just to create a proper ecosystem that support both the policy of the government by engaging all sectors to work, private sector in particular, to support all the policy. And if we can do it in a proper way, then I believe we can achieve this target, inshallah, by 2050.
That's very heartening to hear that, and I think there is a symbiotic link between these member countries, so that I'm sure that all steps and measures are being taken, that the more advanced nations are taking care of the weaker ones, and taking them forward with them. And that's why organizations like yours are absolutely critical. So the cooperation among the D8 member states is comprised on agriculture, trade, transportation, and energy. Now adding tourism, economic growth of the region and its positive impacts to the globe. Why tourism? Do you think tourism development is one solution to reboot the economies of the region in post-COVID-19? Could you please elaborate on that?
Tourism is included in our 6 earlier areas of cooperation based on sectoral cooperation, as you mentioned. And to us at the Secretariat, we look at it as a very important sector, because it's all about human being. It's all about how we develop our human capital, of how we build our service industry in particular. And I'm sure we will not go wrong at all if we engage with tourism sector. And we have a good, experience in the 8 member countries, because few member countries are doing very well in tourism sector. And the fact that there is this desire by member countries to share, their experience,
expertise and knowledge.
It's more of experience learning, best practices again, willingness to cooperate together within the D8 member countries. And this is why I say the importance of tourism. And in our contact, although before, I have to be very frank that tourism was not given that serious importance, because we were busy trying to develop other sectors. But now tourism has come on board to me as a very, very important sector to develop, because, as I said, it will give the opportunity for the people. It will give opportunity not only to the government. And I have few ideas, in fact, of how we want to engage it. And the fact that we signed this letter of intent with World Tourism Forum is to show how serious we are, because we know WTF is very professional. You have the capability, and you have engaged yourself in many parts of the world, and you are able to promote tourism aggressively, and coupled with our own experience in countries like Turkey, that is listed as one of the best destinations in the world for tourism. Malaysia, for that matter. Now Egypt also. Indonesia is catching up. So we have got a number of countries that are quite good in tourism, and we are ready to share this again. So this is, as I said, we will turn this sector as a pillar of one of our economic activities, inshallah. Yes.
Thank you. That makes me very happy to hear that. On the regional level, we see success stories. Your member countries are major travel destinations, some of them offering all year round tourism services. Istanbul, Kuala Lumpur, and Cairo airports rank among the busiest airports of their region. Malaysia is a financial hub, especially for the Islamic finance products. In the past 30 years, Turkish contractors have undertaken 9,000 plus projects in 115 countries with a total value of 350 billion USD. Pakistan and Bangladesh are becoming regional powers in the export of software and IT services, with leaps amounting to 60 to 70% annually. However, these regional and sector-specific success stories remain rather meager when compared to the giants of the developed world and China. What policy are you advising in helping to advance the growth?
Okay, tourism, as I said, is important. And as a result of our 9th summit held in 2017, and the leaders have tasked us to come up with comprehensive strategies for the tourism. And we took it very seriously, and we developed these comprehensive strategies. I hope you are able to look at all these comprehensive strategies that include our vision and strategies of how we want to develop it. I think it encompasses, again, new ideas of how we can engage the world, in particular, to develop this sector. And we just had our ministerial meeting last year in November in Kuala Lumpur, the second ministerial meeting. And in that meeting, we came up with our Kuala Lumpur Declaration. And of course, earlier in 2008, I think we developed our first Istanbul Tourism Declaration. And in Kuala Lumpur, then we agreed that we have again approved this comprehensive strategy. And we also came up with a new idea, something that we call Crescent Moon Initiative, based on our logo that looks like a crescent moon, that we realized we are located in a different part of the world. And there seems to be an issue that even our citizens don't know much about their member state. And so we thought that we need to provide connectivity. We need to do more so that citizens would be aware that there is such an opportunity in tourism. Therefore, we are looking at, introducing new ideas. Something not only unique to the conventional tourism, but engaging new technology, like digitalized tourism, for example. Having some not only regional cooperation, but again, even using AI if there is a need for us to start working closely to introduce all these ideas. So all these ideas are being incorporated into all these things. And as I say, we don't wait now. As we look at WTF as our partner, and I believe that through our partnership, I'm sure we can look at the potential and opportunities. I have written to the Minister of Tourism of Nigeria immediately to look at Nigeria, for example, because Nigeria, to me, is the biggest country in Africa. It is an economic powerhouse. It is a hub for all activities in Africa. So we are now trying to turn Nigeria not only in the context of making it as hub for medical or health, hub, and in that context also health has got some opportunity for health tourism, medical tourism, and turning Nigeria again to for a hub for tourism. So we are now trying to identify member countries that need all the support. I had a meeting recently with the Excellency Foreign Minister of Bangladesh, and he, in fact, told me, the desire of Bangladesh to look at, tourism as an important sector, which Bangladesh want to really develop. So the desire is very important. Pakistan, the minister himself is very aggressive, and he was in Kuala Lumpur when we attended a meeting, and he immediately said, we are going to host the ministerial meeting, again, our third tourism ministerial meeting in Islamabad next year. and where World Tourism Forum is going to have your forum also there to coincide with our minister meeting. So we are trying to provide this kind of platform. We look at the opportunity to listen to you, professional, because I believe in engaging professional in realizing all this dream. And at the same time, we are trying to work with private sector. Let me also share with you that we are trying also to come up with initiative to facilitate the expansions of tourism sector. We established our D8 designated airport. We are now having 3 airports in D8 member countries. In Istanbul, which is on the Asian part, Sabiha Gökçen Airport is our first D8 designated airport. We have Karachi International Airport as our D8 designated airport. We have Abuja Airport also as our D8 airport. We are trying to get other airports also. The idea is for us to introduce D8 in a proper way. At the same time, also we have already sign and implement our visa agreement also. 1 or 2 initiatives also will cater, like we are creating this initiative, hopefully that we can launch it during the summit, something we call the D8 payment card. And this D8 payment card also is a kind of instrument that will help us, to facilitate the movement of travelers for business opportunities, for business transaction, and so on.
Right. Thank you. That's very comprehensive. Okay. So you talked about the airports, and that's under your aviation network. Okay. And I believe, this project will enhance travel and transport services among the member states. You've made some very, very important points here, and I was going to touch upon the D8 visa between the developing 8 countries, if they can be in flow of traffic, because you've got enough of a population to benefit these member states from tourism from amongst the member states. And I think these are going to be very important initiatives, and I commend you for this. So the organization is vigilant towards the health crisis and amongst the many economic challenges. Are you supporting any further reports, protocols, monitoring, how to combat the COVID-19 from the health perspective?
Yes. This is what I explained earlier about our initiative. We established our secretariat in Abuja now.
Okay.
And yes, so we have that, and they are working seriously. In fact, what we are doing right now, or to address this issue, we are partnering with different bodies. We are partnering with Chatham House. Chatham House is advising us on how we want to proceed in addressing this issue. We are working closely with WHO as well, and at the same time, we are engaging member countries also. And I think there is this desire of member countries to come up, in fact, to urging us also to come up quickly with a solution. So we are talking now about not only trying to find solution, vaccine, and so on, but at the same time, in this context, we are looking at the possibility of engaging local people, our citizens, to go into something like we call entrepreneurship, producing something, and this has been one of the pillars that we are talking about. It's not only about health protection, we are talking about trying to encourage our people to venture into some technologies as well, so that we can learn from another, share one another's technology and capability. Then at the same time, we are talking also about trying to find a way where we can establish a mechanism of funding, helping member countries to address the COVID-19 issue as well. And these are all in the pipeline. Hopefully that we'll be able to have our virtual ministerial meeting soon, and we will also try to find an answer to all these questions.
Okay. So when you're talking about funding, this is the project support fund to conduct activities and studies of implementation of various programs. Is that and is it to support the private sector, and will that also help this tourism industry in any way?
Okay, we introduced a project support fund last year, approved, and now we are receiving application by different bodies, both from government and also from private sector, which we will try to provide, not much, but we are looking at this possibility but so far we have not received any application for us to, to look at the COVID issues. But if there is application, certainly we will consider that because we need to do the analytical work. But at the same time, as I said, since we are partnering with Chatham House, Chatham House now has agreed to allow us to be as a member. So we have access to all their studies, their analysis, their research work, and so on, their libraries as well. And we are looking at them also to provide some support in funding. We are going to engage, perhaps philanthropists. And these are all we have been thinking about, mobilizing effort to create a good initiative so that people at large will be able to support. I know in the member countries, we have got many able people who need a platform for them to support. But the platform is not there. So we are trying to create this platform to enable some people who would be kind and generous enough to participate in programs. So we are looking at this possibility of creating this kind of a platform. Okay. So hopefully we'll be able to do that soon.
Okay, great. So if one were to look at the map, all 8 member states together eminently and elegantly appear as a chain or string of pearls and crescent, concave. It could well be argued that such a picture is a signal reminder and hence embodies a shifting of influence and power from the north to the south, and not only from the west to the east. Do you see D8 play a role that can be a bridge between other bodies like EU, OIC, ASEAN countries?
Yes, we have quite an active, activities, in particular when it comes to international relations. We are now a partner of United Nations Cooperation on Trade and Development, and with them we have already come up with the way that we are building and preparing our investment guideline with the help of UNCTAD. Now we are going to work with WHO. Hopefully that we will be able to sign an agreement or MOU with them. We are also working with IFAD, and we are talking to them also to have a virtual meeting soon, and looking forward to ask them to help us also in the agricultural sector. We are partner of Islamic Development Bank, and they are working closely with us, and they are helping us also. In fact, they have tasked us to come up with a study to support this issue of COVID, because I think they have a program, for example, on science, technology, and innovation. They have education, and they have tasked our secretariat in Abuja to also provide some kind of advice of how we want to proceed with that. We signed a few other agreements with other bodies. We are quite close to WTO also, and we work directly with the United Nations General Assembly, UN Secretariat. So we have a direct communication with them, and we are in the process of, inshallah, if all is well and fine, we're going to sign an agreement with the UN Office of South-South Cooperation. So this is also being, addressed. Then what else? We are partnered with Chatham House, as I mentioned just now. Yeah. And we are going to also hopefully sign MOU with ECOWAS. We want to learn also from them. I have spoken to even EU members of how we can, work together closely. So to us, it's not about working from within. To us, it's about engaging and reaching out to whoever who can be our partner that can bring benefit or common benefit to both sides. So we are working with some group from UK as well now, and those even from UK are supporting us in some of our program. So it's not only limited to what we have from within the D8 member countries. So we look at North-South as an important element. We look at South-South also an important element. But I must stress also that we are quite active, in our work by engaging private sector. So private sectors are coming now directly to us with some good ideas, and we try to support private sector to connect not only as an organization, but helping them to find partners between private sectors from member countries. So these are a completely new approach where we give importance, and I'm happy to inform that we have now our D8 Chambers of Commerce and Industry. So under that, we have hundreds of thousands of companies that are looking at D8 as a big, opportunity for them to do business.
So peace instead of conflict, dialogue instead of confrontation, cooperation instead of exploitation, justice instead of double standards, equality instead of discrimination, and democracy instead of oppression. Your member countries have come a long way, and D8 is a forum which can be used to address some of those most vital challenges. And I think you're already doing that, facing the world in contemporary times. What's the future of G8? Has it finally come out of the shadows of G8, or much work still needs to be done?
Well, I have to be very frank on this. It's a huge challenge for us. As you know, many regional organizations, international organizations sometimes face some issues because commitment by member countries sometimes can be an issue as well. We are developing countries, and always when it comes to financial issues is always a huge challenge to us to address. But despite that problem, we don't have any problem, of member countries supporting us at the Secretariat, and they are very committed. So I'm happy to see, even in fact, changes of attitude, changes of desire. I think this is completely different. When we established D8 23 years ago, I know our leaders had a dream that we should be practical, we should be action-oriented. But while we face many challenges along the way, and at that time, I think we were focusing on trade, for example, to improve our trade. And that also we face a lot of challenge, to implement some of our agreement. But now, to me, I take it that the Secretariat or the organization must be pragmatic. It has to be action-oriented. It has to be result-oriented. So we have to change the way we do work. So I take it that, by bringing private sector into it, because these are professional people. They know where they can make money. And to them, if they can smell somewhere that they can make money quickly, they will be able to do that. So the government, to me, should provide the enabling, accommodate all the need, and we can work closely with different parties in particular to realize all this work and initiative. So this is what exactly we try to change now, because earlier when we talked about it, I think the early part of D8 was for us to establish the instrument to enable us to work. I think we have done that. Now we come to a period where we have to implement it. So the idea when we built our roadmap for the next 10 years is all about implementation. And therefore, as I said, we adopt an approach that we will reach out to people. We will go to the people, on the ground, see what best they can offer us. And then we will convince the member state to say that I think this is a viable project, and let us work together closely, by trying to establish it. So I'm happy because this summit, we hope that we can launch and approve some of the new initiatives that involve many private sectors. So something that we are trying very hard now to realize, and I pray that we will be able to realize this. The private sector initiative that I'm talking about, we are now in the process of launching this project, the 8 payment card, as desired by our leaders, that will provide a huge platform for us to cater for the need, not only for business transaction. We will cater for the need of our migrant workers, for example. We will cater for the need of our university students, for example, for the pilgrimage people who want to go pilgrims, and we are creating this initiative where we work with the private sector to turn Kuala Lumpur, because as you said, is a financial hub, Islamic financial hub. So we go along with this policy of the government of Malaysia. We come up with a new idea that something that we call the 8 Creative Economy and Financial Center, that we will establish with the private sector for them to build a huge complex there to cater for our latest digital kind of business transaction, using the concept of zakat, wakaf, and so on, in order to go along with the aspiration of the government of Malaysia, and that we hope will benefit other member countries. We now talking to a group also in Turkey for us to, using the example, a model of a cooperation between Egypt and Turkey, non-private sector, where they establish a number of economic zones in Egypt, and it seems very successful. So I'm bringing this model for us to create and establish something we call the 8 economic or industrial zone. So we are very happy now 1 or 2 member countries are offering this, and they hope that we can establish this quickly. So we are working with one developer and also investor to realize this dream. Again, we are using Turkish experience, for example, in something very unique. So they have done with this for many, many years, something called private sector barter trading system. So we are trying to use this system so that, again, more of best practices and experience learning. So I plan to bring it to other member countries that private sector can do barter training about themselves. So hopefully this also will be approved. And these are some of the examples that, that we are trying to create to bring differences in the way we approach, our work, with a view that we will be able to increase our intra-trade and investment among member countries.
Thank you so much. I'm inspired, totally inspired. In order to well prepare for reshaping economy of the D8 member countries through tourism or any industry is not only a smart move, but in today's environment is bold too. Under your leadership, D8 is moving forward with its tourism agenda and other economic agendas with 3 high priority objectives. It's clear: to create jobs, to invite tourism-related investment projects, and eventually increase foreign direct investment into your member countries. And hopefully our partnership can support your organization to help build a stable foundation towards sustainable value from this integrated economy. I thank you so much for your time today. And like I said, I am inspired, and I'm, from the work that you are doing and from your leadership. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Madam Sumaira, for giving us this opportunity. So